Agatha gets a backstory, and Wanda takes a trip down memory lane with her own version of This Is Your Life, all on tonight's episode of I Stream, You Stream.
Hello?
Well, hello. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's episode of I Stream, You Stream. Let's get everybody in here. Let's bring on BitOfRits, AllThatPat. It is time to discuss episode number 8. We are almost there. The finish line is right there. I can see the little rope that we're going to bust through.
I'm sad, though, about that.
What's that?
I'm a little sad about that, though.
But I don't know. It's okay. Here's the thing. If it wasn't for the fact that in like 2 weeks we're going to start a new series of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I would be sad. But the fact that there's literally look at what's happening here in March. Ready? We have on March 12th we have assembled. There's gonna be one episode of behind the scenes of what's happened on how they've made WandaVision, which I am like super excited to see that. There's going to be 4 episodes of Legends. You're going to get a backstory of Baron Zemo, Agent 13, Winter Soldier, as well as the Falcon. Then on March 18th, we're going to jump, Marvel. We're going to go on to the HBO Max, and we're going to get the Snyder Cut of Justice League, a 4-hour movie. Come on, people. That's amazing. And then we get the world premiere on March 19th, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then we get the release of Kong versus Godzilla, Strike That, Reverse It, on March 24th. March is stacked. And I think even we're supposed to be getting the new Mighty Ducks series this month. What is going on, people?
I got very confused towards the end. I thought they were all like superheroes, and I'm like, Godzilla and Kong.
It's all about the streaming service, HBO Max. They've doing the whole thing right now with everything that's being released from the WB is going to be released on HBO Max as well as in the theater same day. Very similar like you had Wonder Woman 84. We had Tom and Jerry that just happened last week. And then a couple more weeks from now, we're going to get that Godzilla versus Kong. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's Mortal Kombat down the road. There's just so many good movies that are going to be. The new Dune is supposed to be there, though there's some little controversy going on that with. I don't want to go down that road. But, oh, my goodness, Warner Brother kind of got their hand caught in the cookie jar a little bit. But that's a whole nother story. And I just went on a tangent. And, boy, like someone pushed a button and I'm ready to go.
Right, and like we even have like Paramount Plus is dropping
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Paramount, the new Paramount Network, which is the CBS All Access, is getting rebranded. I believe tomorrow the WWE Network is being absorbed by the Peacock Network. So it's just like all these little streaming services. So I stream, you stream. Everybody's got something to stream.
Absolutely. And there's rumors that Microsoft is looking to acquire the New York Nerd Show Network.
Ooh. No, there are no rumors.
I'm starting the rumors now.
Yeah.
Fake news. Instead of that warning sign, you need to have fake news sign.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll think about that. We'll see how that happens. But tonight we're going to be talking about the new episode of WandaVision, episode 8, entitled "Previously On," which I feel is a kind of a nice little message of here's basically we're almost done with the episode. Here's kind of catching you up of what's been happening in the previously 7 episodes, and we're finally getting those answers that we've been so wanting to hear. We've been theorizing, we've been plotting, we've been speculating for 7 whole weeks. And finally, we are getting some of those answers that we may have kind of answered. And some of them we were like, whoa, way off.
Yeah, this was a really deep episode. So many backstories, too. Like we learn a lot about Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
A lot about Wanda herself. And I think it was very eye-opening.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of just because of what we've seen so far, like this is probably one of my favorite episodes. I think this one and episode 4 are probably my 2 favorite, just because there's that all that spider web that's just going all over the place, and these are what's connecting. Those are putting those strings that's connecting all those little plot points that we've been, wondering about, and we're finally getting that connection. We're finally almost getting to see that larger picture, that whole picture in itself. You're doing the puzzle, and it's like, okay, this looks a little weird, and then you kind of step back and look at it, and it's like, whoa, it's a donkey.
Isn't it the forest and the trees or something like that? It's another analogy.
Well, if you want to get philosophical.
Philosophical. It's a nice Greek kind of theory. That's what it is.
Oh my goodness, words are going to be an issue tonight. I have a feeling.
I will tell you though, this was actually my favorite episode of the series.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just loved seeing everything come together and learning more about how Wanda herself is an incredibly tragic figure. We knew it already coming from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, knowing that Vision had died.
Yeah.
But then learning all about her family, not only her brother, but also her parents, and just the experimentation that's done with her. I mean, not to get too far ahead, but you'll see a lot of stuff goes with Wanda. It makes her life pretty screwed up, and it shows you where she is right now. But yeah, it's super cool. I've never been a big fan of the Scarlet Witch. I mean, didn't really not like her, but when we first heard about the show WandaVision, I was like, yeah, I love it. It really overbound any kind of expectations I had, and this is.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I love what they have done with this show. With if you really think about it, 5 lesser known kind of 2 of your Avenger characters, of your second tiered Avenger characters, and then you've got 3 secondary characters that are kind of on the outskirts of some of the other movies, and you've brought them together in this one beautiful masterpiece of a story, and it is just absolutely wonderful. I've been excited since the ground was yeah, whatever they hit the ground running or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've day one. I've been excited. What about you, about BitOfRits? What was your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did like seeing the backstory, particularly of Agnes, Agatha Hart. What's the last name?
Yeah, Agatha Harkness, right?
Harkness.
Yeah, Harkness.
Since I really didn't know anything about her, particularly from the backstory for Wanda, I knew in bits and pieces just from what we've talked about, in the past. But it was definitely interesting to see, from what was it,
1693.
Yeah. I had no idea that that's how far she had started back. And it was interesting that it was kind of she seemed like she wanted. Well, she even said it. She's like, "Oh, I can be good," and she wanted to be good, but for whatever reason, this coven of witches didn't believe her, and they're trying to kill her, but instead she absorbs all of their powers.
Yeah, she definitely was wanting to go down the, for lack of better terms, down the dark side. She experimented with the dark magic. Kind of has a little parallels to that of Doctor Strange, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but the
Cumberbatch.
No. It was the black gentleman that plays opposite, basically kind of Doctor Strange's mentor. And Dormammu is the only name that's popping into my brain, and that is absolutely wrong. But basically, he Calicius. He was the bad guy in that, and he kind of wanted to go down that. He wanted to learn more. And it was a matter of, the Ancient One kind of stopped him from going down that route. And so it's just everything that kind of had to deal with that was just really cool and interesting to see that there's a little bit of that parallelness to it of those 2 characters.
Yeah.
And she becomes the Witch of Witches for sure.
Yeah. So there's the slides there. She pretty much, she gets blasted with that blue magic. And then, of course, the Marvel studio gets a little purple overtone to it because that's the magic of Agatha Harkness. That's her color of magic.
Right.
But everyone else has blue magic. So I know to jump ahead, they refer to Wanda's magic as chaos magic. It's red. So, and I'm just wondering if there's a type of, a term for purple magic or blue magic that's out there. But she gets blasted, basically being, I would imagine, kind of not necessarily, burned at the stake, but trying to like take her magic abilities away from her. But unfortunately, going down that road of studying that dark magic, she was able to absorb their life force from them, which is probably why she looked pretty good after 300-400 years.
Good point.
I could only hope.
So the one person that I'm wondering if because like she mentions her mother.
Yeah, but she killed her mother. I mean, she completely dried her out here.
I didn't understand if that was truly her mother or maybe it was the mother of the coven.
That's an excellent point, but I do believe that it was her mother.
Oh, okay.
And that's because I know because she actually is in part of the Marvel comics and everything. But if you notice the image that's on there now, with having that kind of that magical crown that she's wearing,
right?
But we believe that she, and I'm gonna butcher this name completely, so I apologize to the the Atlanteans for this. But Zhared Na, Zhered-Na.
It's pronounced.
What's that?
It's pronounced Sam.
We'll go. Yeah. Looks like very similar to the ancient sorceress by that name. That actually was a sorceress from the Atlantean city of Atlantis. And basically, because she had learned that magic, she actually was kicked out of it. And in fact, there is the book that is in her basement that is supposedly possibly that book that they learned from. So I believe
first edition.
I think it was like a reprint though.
I was wondering,
yeah, I think it's a second one, but I do believe it was autographed. So Namor, I think, autographed it. But so there's that. That's a nice little Easter egg type of thing of reference of Agatha's mother and what ties she may have. It was probably just a throwaway little bit there, but based on some of the stuff that's in the comics, that may be where she comes from. So, but there's a lot of stuff that happens afterwards where basically Agatha sends, Wanda down a, this is your life, an episode of her own version of reruns, as she calls it. And in fact, while she's trying to talk with her, Wanda tries to do magic, but nothing happens because there's all these ruins around the basement. And it's interesting to see because, again, Agatha is a witch, a true witch from the 1600s, where she actually learnt the magic, versus kind of Wanda just does it. She doesn't know anything about it. She just, whatever she wants, she just kind of makes it happen. And the fact that, Agatha's like, you're even running illusions miles away at the edge of town. She's got things going on all over the place. And basically, she just wants to know what's your secret. She wants to know how she does it because, everything from a mind spell that, has them, do whatever they want, a manipulation spell, or a transfiguration spell. There's all this stuff that's going on that Wanda is doing in Westview, but Agatha doesn't even know how she's doing it. And she wants to know that, something so complex, so simple or even complex as it may be, lots of years of studies go into being able to do some of this magic, and Wanda's just doing it with a blink of an eye.
Right.
So
for that power herself almost.
Well, I would imagine that that's what it's going to kind of come down to. Is that's going to be the big battle? Is Agatha is going to want to absorb her power, and kind of to see if that's actually what's going to happen. But there's just all this stuff that's happening all over town, and Agatha has no idea how she's doing it. And for that matter, Wanda doesn't know how she was doing it. So in order to do that, had to go down a trip down memory lane, and opens up one of these doors, and basically, uses her DNA to kind of open it up. And basically, we start off with going into the place of Sokovia. That's basically her hometown where her and Pietro were born. And what was your kind of take on being able to see all these different life events from Wanda? Like, I'm presuming that helped, enlighten her as a character and really shine a lot of light on her.
I loved how, so in the first scene you see, like, they're actually in the house. Well, they were where the family actually lived growing up. And, it's not a good situation, but the thing that Wanda uses to both practice her English and also just to kind of escape from reality are the dad brings home like 5 DVD sets. And those DVD sets all represent the different genres that were shown throughout the beginning part of the season. There's a Malcolm in the Middle box set. There's a Who's the Boss box set, a Brady Bunch, and a Dick Van Dyke, I believe it is.
Well, not at the beginning. In the beginning, it was only the old original stuff, but you see life events where she's watching those other shows later.
Yeah,
But
so in the thing, you've got a Who's the Boss, Addams Family, I Love Lucy, Bewitched, Malcolm in the Middle, and I believe where her their hand is, that's I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, so they were all at the beginning? Or all of them? Oh, I didn't realize that.
She continues to watch them.
Right.
Throughout the events.
So I was wrong.
And of course, then Wanda comes out and basically, I don't want to watch those. I want to watch this one. It's the Dick Van Dyke Show. And so they actually get together as a family and start watching these shows. Because again, it's helping them practice their English. That's kind of like the whole purpose of this is they have to practice things. And what's nice is you look in the back at these episodes and the scenery. This is the straight up inspiration for like the first 2 episodes. Like, like truly, they drew the inspiration from the Dick Van Dyke. Like that is, I would say that was their kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
With the refrigerator, everything was almost to the T. Unfortunately, disaster struck, and they were hit by the Stark missile. And so now you've got the twins hiding underneath their bed while it's landing there, blinking at them, and they're just kind of just still seeing the TV there. So Pietro's like, Wanda, are you okay? And Agatha finally gets a little bit of knowledge as to where this happened. So basically, there's some tragedy in her life.
In the beginning for what they show us, I mean, that's this thing. It makes her so sympathetic character because we knew that her brother and her husband had died, but then
you knew her parents did earlier too because of that commercial in the first one. But seeing it is a little different, I guess, than just talking about it, I suppose. And also, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if it was at this point or the next memory where Agatha mentions that perhaps she had like witch powers like within her, but like she was able to get them to come out more basically later in life. And so normally they would kind of have like just diminished, it sounded like.
Yeah, so I'm looking over my notes here of stuff that I wrote down. They said that she may have used a probability hex to keep it from exploding. And basically what they were thinking that is that Agatha says, what I see is a young witch not aware of her powers yet.
Right.
And so, of course, now we get to kind of a little bit of see of how those commercials really were tying into those traumatic events. We kind of called it from the beginning that the missile was reminiscent of the toaster, and so therefore that beeping, you were hearing that's what was going on from the very beginning. And I'm looking here at some of my other stuff, my other notes that I wrote. I do have to say though, I found some boo-boos.
Aw.
I found another one. So a little bit of a history lesson for you. To my knowledge, the twins were born in 1989.
That was weird, like because I know those characters existed well before that, but they're just like modifying it for the situation, because obviously, like, DVD would have definitely been in their future had it, like, if that makes sense. I'm trying to say.
Right. Well, by the time they turn 10, it's if I remember, and I believe they say it when during the the meeting when Wu and Hayward were talking about Wanda being a terrorist. They kind of give a little backstory, and they actually do. I believe they say that her parents were killed March 31st, 1999. So that's, I believe, that the day that this takes place. Now, in this DVD box, you know, Who's the Boss, Addams Family, all those are very, classic shows. However, Malcolm in the Middle, the very first episode did not happen until January of the year 2000.
Well, and those DVD box sets weren't even available yet either, because DVD didn't start until Austin Powers was the first DVD, I believe, that or Space Jam or something.
Oh no, they were a lot earlier than that.
In '99, they had TV show box sets.
As far as box sets, I cannot say, but these were seasons of stuff. So I can't attest to when those other ones came out, but specifically I knew that Malcolm in the Middle didn't even start until the year 2000. So we're talking 8 months before it even happened. On top of that, that DVD set did not come out until late 2002.
Gotcha, Disney. Yeah.
On top of that, the complete box set for the Dick Van Dyke Show did not come out until 2005. So maybe there's some time manipulation magic that she does have, and she's able to pull them from the future. But minor thing, I understand what they're doing, and they wanted to be able to play with these shows and everything, and make them part of her growing up. Right. Though later on, when she's at the Avengers mansion or compound, she's watching Malcolm in the Middle. They could have just left it at that, and that's the reference, to her utilizing that as one of the themings for the episodes. Right. They didn't have to throw the Malcolm in the Middle there. But anyways, I still like it. It's okay. I'm gonna let it pass. But then after we go to Sokovia, then we jump to their time as basically Hydra agents. So they open up another door, and it's great if you can actually kind of see it right there in the middle of the door. You can actually see the Hydra symbol there. When I was watching the first time, I didn't notice it until I got to see it on a brighter screen. So, but basically, there's two scientists experimenting on people, and I love this joke. They're saying, "Okay, I got this all right, so you're teenagers and you're mad because Tony Stark blew up your parents, and what do? You join a Hydra cult?" And he's like, "We wanted to change the world." Okay, well, we'll let that slide.
I'm really curious on this particular scene. She ultimately is the first person apparently to be able to withstand this test, and she sees this whole visual in her, with the as she basically is taking the power from this one of the stones,
the Mind Stone.
Yeah, the Mind Stone, and what she sees in that whole
thing that he's showing it.
Right, but this whole event, the other guys that are actually running the test, they don't see it at all. In their eyes, she just literally walks in, stares, and collapses. And I'm wondering, what's going on there. You know what I mean? As far as like, is she just getting lost in this? Like, you know, what do they see during this moment while her hair is blown all over the place and she's blinded? Like,
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Based on, I'm almost wondering if like they saw it when it happened, but then like their mind, because this is the Mind Stone, that it, because you also consider the Mind Stone exploded,
right.
or the blue portion around the Mind Stone exploded, and she was able to kind of touch the Mind Stone. And she was given this vision, which this looks like you kind of see the little pointiness. This, I believe, is the Scarlet Witch.
Well, that's just it. Isn't Wanda the Scarlet Witch?
Was there
Yes.
one for her?
But here's the thing. She does not get dubbed the Scarlet Witch until the very end of the episode because of the type of magic that she has received from this Mind Stone. So I think it's kind of, she's embodying this creature, this essence, because of the type of magic that she has, thus giving her the title of the Scarlet Witch.
Do you think that the original Scarlet Witch might be one of the witches that was trying to kill Agnes in the beginning, and they kind of, this has been kind of like preordained for hundreds of years that they would come together?
That's an excellent theory. I don't believe so. Just because,
easy.
and that's only because, well, one, I don't know. I'm trying to think, where this scepter has been. And for the most part, I believe it's been with like Thanos and like the Chitauri, because that's, I know we finally see it for the first time, I believe, and the first Avengers, when it's given to Loki by the Chitauri to help invade New York. Because I know they had the Tesseract at the Project Pegasus place that allows him to, use the Space Stone to get from the Chitauri to Earth. But yeah, I think this is the spirit of the Scarlet Witch, or maybe it's just a premonition, a vision of the future, because that's kind of what one of those the Nexus beings are. They can control time, space, and reality.
Is it a WandaVision?
It could have. See, you get that's good. It's a never. I won't do it.
I would call it a television joke, but it's that she's having a vision.
Yes.
So
a couple years.
They I think they just kind of the scientists' minds were kind of just wiped clean, and then as soon as it's done, she collapsed, and that's all they see. The tapes are kind of erased. But then again, she goes back to her cell, and you see her watching the Brady Bunch, which again plays into that episode of this from the 70s. In fact, the little doll that Vision was using to practice on is right there.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that one before. Yeah.
So it's just all this cool stuff that we're getting to see. And really, where is Wanda getting this information from? What is feeding her story? So, of course, we've gone to Sokovia. We've gone to the Hydra base where she gets her powers, which, again, diving from the second trailer where, it's the Strucker watch where she gets that power from them. And you can even almost go with the Hydra soak where she, becomes that goddess within.
Right. It's with all this information on episode 8, it really makes me wonder with episode 9, where does everybody even fit in? Because all I want to see now is the culmination of these two. I don't even care about Monica anymore. You know, because this became so strong.
I want to know where the Suns went.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they come back. But
yeah. Well, the next place we go to is right after the events of Captain America: Civil War. So in the events there, you've got people, Team Cap, Team Iron Man. that one believes in the Sokovia Accords, that you need to register as a superhero and be told what to do by the government, and then you've got the side that doesn't. And so Wanda and Vision were on opposite sides, but yet they were still able to, after the battle, come together and really kind of just have that friendship blossom. So here she is, watching Malcolm in the Middle in the Avengers compound, and Vision, kind of comes through the wall like he does. And they just kind of start talking about what happened and how can we make things better. And Wanda's like, the only thing that's going to make this better is if I get to see him again. But then Vision has this beautiful quote that really kind of sums up what this whole series has been about, but what is grief if not love persevering? And that's just the love that she had for Pietro, the love that she had for Vision, just persevering through all this grief. And that's kind of what is caused this whole show, is her wanting to get back. But then we see this smile from Wanda, and you get to see that flame start to flicker between the two of them. And even Agatha's like, I might even start to cry.
Yeah, very sarcastic there from Agatha, I believe, just kind of like, needling her. Maybe not, maybe she was really feeling that emotion.
I'm sure she was probably feeling it, because again, she's seeing Wanda go from that 10-year-old girl to the troubled teen, then having this experience as a young adult, and all the grief and tragedy that she's had to go through in her life over these 10-15 years, and what it's done to her life. And sure, probably she just wants to find out how she's doing all this magic. So she's really just kind of helping her dig away at these emotions to finally realize, Pietro's gone, Vision's gone, but you want them back.
Yeah, I guess Agatha really isn't necessarily 100% been positioned as a bad character. I mean, she definitely is, but like she could be also like just trying to mentor her and become like, I don't know. Like she is trying to get to.
I don't think she's trying to mentor her. I think she's just trying to understand her so that she can figure out how to boost up her own power, or as Lord Cash mentioned, perhaps maybe even take over her power onto herself. So I think it's like she's doing it not for the kindness of her heart. She's doing it to be malicious, but she does feel bad for her,
Yeah.
It's I know in the comics she was the mentor to her. So I don't know if it's one of those things where it's starting off with, girl, how are you doing this? I can't do this. What is your secret? How can I maybe learn from you? That way you can learn from me. It's kind of a little symbiotic relation there, that, give and take to both.
That as she learns her story, she becomes more empathetic and doesn't want to ruin her. Instead, work with her.
Right. Well, because I'm curious if they are going to do that, because there is a greater threat out there. And that was something we're going to talk about at the very end.
Yeah,
but
so at the beginning of Agatha's story, you see her say multiple times, I can be good. I'm good deep down. So, it's almost like she's a villain because she was told by others that she's bad and a villain.
Right.
Maybe she has that goodness inside of her, the whole time.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, because we don't know what she's done over the past, 300 plus years that she's been walking the earth.
Right.
What else has she done to, has she been that bad guy, that villain, through the 17, 18, 1900s? We don't know this.
Right.
So,
I feel like, other than the fact that, at least in this show, other than the fact that the two sons have disappeared, most of her, shenanigans is more like mischievous, not necessarily like evil.
But again, she's doing it.
Except for the dog killing.
Well, she's doing it to wake her up,
Hmm.
to break her out of this fantasy world that she has created for herself. And like she even says that, I tried being nice and kind of just poking you and trying to get you out of this, but you wanted to hold on to this world. You wanted to hold on. You expanded the bubble because your husband stepped out of, the world that you created. So
Right.
you made it even bigger. So it's everything that's being tied into that. It's like she just wants knowledge. Is I think that's kind of her thing is she's just trying to figure out what's going on, because at the beginning of she says there's just all these complex spells being done at once. I was drawn to it. So the next step, of course, after being at the Avengers compound, is in fact getting back Vision, or at least trying to.
This was very visually almost traumatizing in a sense, and it feels like it is for her too, for Wanda particularly, because we know that Vision was taken apart. Like they mention it, and you even saw like the security camera footage of like him in pieces and Wanda going in to get him or whatever. But they constantly keep showing that he is literally just pulled apart, like
Well, I think they want you to feel kind of what she's feeling of
Yeah.
like shock and being upset and emotional. But what I thought was interesting is that it conflicted with what we were told earlier. So there was like basically fake footage that the sergeant potentially had put together is what.
So it wasn't fake footage. It just conveniently stopped showing what truly happened. Because we see, that Wanda goes to Sword and goes and talks to the people there. And of course, they finally go, all right, look, Hayward calls down and says, is she still there? They're like, yeah, go ahead and send her on in. They're watching her right there on the CCTV. But they're like, go ahead and send her back. And she walks over. And she's able to, I don't need to be buzzed in. I just use my magic and get in. So like that part, we literally saw that on the footage.
Yeah,
it was just taken out of context.
But yeah, she was they told her that she could go in, so they positioned it. I thought that though in the earlier season or earlier episodes when what's the sergeant's name?
Director Hayward.
Director Hayward. So when Hayward initially showed that footage, I thought that he even had footage of her carrying Vision out of the building, which it was not real.
No, there was no footage of that.
Okay.
In fact,
yeah, I thought there's footage of her like gathering him and what have you.
Or not even gathering, but just carrying him out as a altogether.
So here's some of the footage that they showed for the CCTV, because again, you see her walking towards the door, which that's legit, and you even see the guy on the bottom left. He has stood up out of the chair to walk towards the door to let her in, to buzz her in. But of course, she just magics her way in. And then it goes to, you can even, and they're right there on the top left, you can see Hayward standing right behind her. And of course, she has that moment.
Sorry, this was the original footage, or is this?
This is the footage that Hayward showed to the Sword team.
Okay.
When they were talking about 9 days ago, Wanda is a terrorist. She came into Sword, but they're all down at the bottom. She busts through the glass, which is exactly what happened. And then they float down. But again, it's what they showed. But clearly, I can see Hayward's feet right back there. She comes down to the ground. She sees all of Vision right there, and that's pretty much all they show. There may have been a couple more other pieces there, but literally, that was what happened. So it's all about the context of it. So again, I do think that that's going to tie into the greater evil, because now Wanda is talking with Hayward. We see her looking down. and seen the body of Vision and what this actually does to her. Like she just starts weeping, crying because the love of her life is disassembled.
Well, she doesn't feel him anymore. Like she tries to like kind of get a vibe, like a, an essence, and like Vision's gone basically.
Right. I think it's kind of her first time like comprehending that he truly is gone because she can't even feel anything from him.
That there is no life force, but Hayward makes the comment like not everyone has the kind of power that you do that can bring someone back online. And then he kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, back to life. So I'll kind of like jump into this. I feel that Hayward was really like poking and prodding at her, like really he wanted this reaction from her.
Right.
Because I do think that something's up with that guy. That he is not. I don't
think that he was really disassembling to like make sure that nobody did it. He definitely seemed like he's trying to create, his own weapon or whatever.
He's been spinning all these lies, those web of lies, to his team. Literally, he says that taking him apart, whatever stuff is against his living will. It's against the Sokovia Accords. That's going on, and yet he's doing it. He's taking it apart. Now, granted, there's I think it was like $3 billion worth of vibranium is what Vision is worth. So he's like, I'm not going to give all this valuable metal to you, so you just go buried in the ground. And even goes as far as saying, it's like, well, that's the thing. He doesn't belong to you.
Right.
Which again was just a stab in the heart. So now it's all a matter of, okay, she tries to sense his essence, his life force still there, but with the Mind Stone being plucked out of his skull from Thanos, there's nothing there. There's no more piece to Vision that's left. So she, of course, leaves the Sword facility, jumps on the freeway, and starts driving down and hits New Jersey Westview because here, and when we look through the town as she's driving through, it's very run down, but you're going to see a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to see the residents, and this is one of the things that I've said is this was probably a real town with the people that are there that have just been caught up in it. You see Herb there. You see the boss's wife, Mrs. Hart. I think that's your mailman right there, doing all the deliveries.
Right.
And then, of course, she gets to this plot of land where it's kind of starting to be built up. And we find out this was where Wanda and Vision were going to grow old together. They were going.
View comes in. That's why she chose this place.
Yeah. So, and then of course she just has this breakdown, and just all this grief that's been building up just explodes out of her, and just starts to reform Westview. You have this modern, city, town. That just gets wiped over. She builds a new house and just keeps going like that much further. Like I said, the whole town is rewritten. And as we first see Westview for the first time, it's in that 50s style. So of course everything is being changed. The cars are being, turned into the 50s. You've got movie theaters that are being transformed from a modern to the movie theaters of the past. And then we get back to the house and we start to see that she has physically constructed a version of Vision to where she now gets to spend her life with. And of course, we see that she's a little out of place there. So of course, she does a transformation of herself and becomes the Joan Cleaver of WandaVision, where she's able to do this. And so finally, like all the light bulbs have come on till we finally realize exactly what drove Wanda to this place, to where she has created this whole new world to live in with, her fake husband, so to speak. And the grief has been so bad, the tragedy has been so much that she's literally just wiped it from her brain. You know, that's very scientific. You know, there's people that have that trauma that get that amnesia because the trauma is so bad.
Right.
So
True, yeah, and it's like, and next to just that whole coming full circle, you know, it's like we now see everything and how it works, you know, and how this whole thing got created. Answers a lot of questions, and you alluded to in the beginning of the episode, but I mean, you know, we don't see Mephisto, right? That was one of like the long, you know, running theories that like somebody was actually helping her do this. It doesn't seem like that's the case. It just seems like she was straight up able to do it.
yeah, well, there and then of course, at the very end, once she hears, she has that kind of like little bravo from Agatha. She disappears, and then all of a sudden we hear Tommy and Billy going, "Mom, mom, help us!" So she rushes outside, and who do we finally see? We get to see Tommy and Billy.
I forgot about this part.
But you can see that there's that purple magic. You've got Agatha now floating in the air. She is in full sorceress mode. And basically, she tells Wanda's like, "You have no idea how dangerous you are."
I asked earlier, I was like, "Do you think she's good or bad?" Just like you forgot about the scene. I'm like, she's bad. I don't know why we forgot that last like 3 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
But Agatha's like, "You're supposed to be a myth. You're not supposed to exist." And basically, we find out that she is a being capable of spontaneous creation, that Nexus being. And she's like, "Here you are you're using it to make breakfast for dinner."
Yeah.
This is chaos magic, Wanda. And finally, we get the announcement that this makes you the Scarlet Witch.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we get the reveal. As Kevin Feige has said, this show, when it's all said and done, she will acquire the persona, the moniker, the name of the Scarlet Witch. And one episode left, they finally give it. They do that reveal of who she truly is. Now it's a matter of what is going to happen on Friday. We've got that one episode left. And it's like, what are we going to get from that episode?
I don't know. Like, there's so many characters that have been intertwined in this story. And like I was saying a couple minutes ago, like how I was like, I don't care about Monica anymore. But like, how would she fit into this? How would the fake Pietro fit into this? Like how is Agent Wong gonna fit? How is everybody gonna fit into this right now? Because there's so many different people on the outside that they almost don't matter depending on how the script is written.
Right. Well, I know from a couple trailers, from little pieces that of the trailers, that it's not a spoiler. Stop it. That you see a scene between a version of you see Vision with Wanda basically saying, "This is our home. Let's fight for it." So we have gone 8 episodes of a drama series, with a little bit of supernatural twist to it. But there has not been an action-packed fight scene, a battle scene that's very, stereotypical from a Marvel movie. Right. We have not had that.
Yeah, the biggest action was when they watched Malcolm in the Middle and the garage collapsed on the dad.
Yeah, that, or while they're fake Pietro or Speed are running around, that's probably vandalizing for Halloween. That's the most action. Or when fake Pietro says, "It's not like your dead husband can die twice," and she blasts him.
Right.
Like that's the big fight scene that we've had. In fact, Wanda and Vision almost get to, when they float in the air and they almost have a fight.
There's been a lot of almost, right? When Monica comes and you think maybe she's gonna fight Wanda, and then even with Agatha, like there's a little bit of a standoff in the basement. I thought maybe something might happen there,
but we haven't had that big fight sequence. So I think that's going to happen. There's going to be a showdown between Agatha and Wanda, and magic's going to happen. But I also think I don't know. I do feel, and this is just a speculation. I have this one is straight from me. After rewatching the episode today and just seeing how Hayward has been poking at Wanda to get her to do this, to manipulate her, I am wondering if he is Mephisto.
Possibly.
Okay, so you're thinking that maybe he is still okay.
That again, it is a purely a speculation guess, just because there's been so many, and I can't see it being all those little red herrings just to kind of to tease us and just have us go down this rabbit hole that doesn't even exist. That to not do it at the end of the
like I feel like what I was thinking was that basically he was using this as a way to distract numerous people, to be concerned about Wanda, what she was doing, so that he could create his reversion of Vision and not have all eyes on him or be paying attention to what he's doing.
Right.
So it was kind of like a redirect or misdirect on his like on purpose.
Which again, what do magic people do? Misdirection.
True. Yeah.
So and yeah, as you're talking about, there's the post-credit scene that happens once we get a little bit of credits. We are outside the Hex, and Hayward is in there. Finally, they have something, whatever cataract is about to go online. And they say, all we needed was a little bit of magic from the source. And so you can see the drone that Wanda blasts out of the sky and gives back to them, essentially. It's got that red magic on it. So, of course, he gives the thumbs up for it to happen. Goon Guy, pushes the button to make it happen. And then all of a sudden, we see something. Something is not right. We have an albino version of Vision. A all white version of Vision. Now, again, this is pulled directly from the comics. In fact, it was from the West Coast Avengers, where you have the all white version of Vision, and with that, there is a whole bunch of storyline that goes on that. And I'm looking for my notes. If I can find them, which of course now that I'm looking for them, I can't.
You're saying that. I did want to mention that I'm almost wondering too if perhaps how you were saying he was poking and prodding, and if he is not Mephisto, it may just be that he knew he needed her magic, and so he didn't necessarily think this would be the result of pushing her, but he thought maybe something would happen so that he can kind of grab that magic to use for his project. So, he may not have expected anything to that extent, but he thought maybe she would have a breakdown and maybe he can somehow get some of her magic.
Right.
Potentially.
Like I said, my theory is as an out there theory. I'm just I'm grasping at straws just to keep Mephisto alive.
Oh, for sure.
But I feel that
your theory. I'm just trying to think of what I was thinking before you had mentioned that, as I was seeing some of this stuff.
It's definitely a possibility. Your theory is just as good as mine at this stage. So I get the big thing is what do we expect for Friday? Do we think that Agatha is truly the end all be all bad guy?
I mean, I kind of think that, I guess since you gave us some insight that she turns out to be the mentor in the comic book, I wouldn't be surprised if, she realizes how dangerous Hathaway's new Vision is and teams up with Wanda. And then also that's how you have Monica intertwined, is that all of them are going to need to join forces to fight this new weapon, basically.
Right, the white Vision.
Right.
And I can't imagine any of this is going to be wrapped up in a nice little bow.
No, it's really not. There's going to be a little bit wrapped up, but again, this is supposed to be springboarding into Spider-Man 3, No Way Home, and then Doctor Strange 2. What is it called? Hold on, I have. Oh, I know I have it here. It's the.
I think it's called Ghost Stranger.
Hang on a second. I'm like the multiverse of madness. So you've got those 3 movies that are going to be tying heavily into what's going on in being affected from it. So WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, to Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness. So it's not going away. This is just the start of what's happening. And if it's anything how the first set of Marvel movies, all the way back to
Iron
Man back in 2008, it started laying the groundwork for what became the Avengers.
Right.
And that was the groundwork to what became, the Infinity War and Endgame, with everything happening with the Infinity Stones. Which, by the way, Agatha knows what an Infinity Stone is. Like that kind of like little toss away line there. It's like, oh, Wanda got affected by Infinity Stone, blah, blah, blah. How do you know what Infinity Stone is? Okay, yeah, you're 300.
The Avengers, Lord Cash.
Probably.
The box office was fantastic. You don't think a witch watched it too?
Probably. But yeah, it's not going away. This is just this is the first exposure to Phase 4. And there are so many, new movies that are going to be popping out that are part of Phase 4. And most of them are either like in production or post-production right now. Might just look at this list,
Right.
You've got Falcon and Winter Soldier getting ready to happen. Black Widow, hopefully we'll get that on May 7th. Loki, Shang-Chi, the What If series, which again, that's going to be kind of not really tied to it. But Eternals, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, you've got all the stuff that's going to be taking place here very soon that we're going to be getting. And this is just Phase 4. There's just so much stuff happening.
How many phases are there?
Huh?
How many phases are there?
We did 3 to get, our little thing. I imagine, there's going to be a 5 and a 6 happening.
Was there an I Am Groot movie? Is that what I saw on that list?
So there was, but it's actually, no, I take that back. It's the Christmas special that got scratched, the Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, I Am Groot. It's going to be a Disney Plus service show. But I'm not sure exactly what the content was going to be.
The whole episode is him saying "I am Groot" over and over.
Yeah, the table read for that one must be very quick.
Yes. Well, you know what the funny thing is? Vin Diesel, who does the voice of Groot, gets the script with all of Groot's actual dialogue, what he actually is supposed to say.
That's funny.
So his script actually says, "Please don't go," and he translates to go, "I am Groot." Mm-hmm. Then it's like, "I want a hamburger. I am Groot." That way mentally what you're saying and how it's supposed to sound when you say "I am Groot."
That's so funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So to get a hold of that script would be fascinating, to get that version of the 3-4 movies that Groot's been in. Like, I want his script. I want to know truly what James Gunn wrote for him to say.
I think that'd be fun to have like an extra feature, how they have like different language versions.
There is, I want to say, I know what it was. There was someone that you have to do a book report as if someone else was giving it, and someone did it as Groot.
Nah.
So literally they stood up in front of an oral presentation and go, "I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Thank you. I am Groot." And I'm like, that is fantastic.
I wonder if they got an A or an F.
Yeah.
They got a Groot.
Yeah. I think I might give one of my students that myself. I give him a nice solid Groot.
Yeah.
one of my students today, kind of funny, he had his Thanos gauntlet.
Okay.
And we were waiting for the rest of his class to show up because they're coming back late from lunch. So he put it on and he started snapping, and just there's timing, but the kids just started coming back, and I'm like, it's the blip.
The blip was happening.
Yes.
I'm curious, how much more we're going to see from Photon, i.e. Monica, if we're going to see her really kind of bring those powers to full life. Got to find out exactly who Pietro is, because the last time we saw the two of them was she was looking down the basement, and Pietro's like, Snooper's going to snoop. Where'd they go?
Right.
Thanks for reminding myself here.
You're welcome.
We had another Stan Lee cameo.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Is he the bug?
Look at the bottom of the license plate.
Excelsior?
Excelsior.
Well, not to burst your bubble, that is actually the state motto for New York.
I know. But again, it's Stan Lee. That is where it came from.
That is true.
So, but yeah, that's granted, yeah, okay, it's a New York license plate, so it's a little bit of a stretch there. It's not his birthday or anything, but yeah.
No, I think that if we weren't in New York, we'd be the same idea. But yeah, it does go hand in hand, and I'm sure it was picked, intentionally for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like 99% on that.
Lord Cash, as we wrap up, I got to say one thing I'm really disappointed about. We did our show a day early. So that means you got to wait an extra day for WandaVision. We can't just it's gonna be on in a couple hours. I know that's no longer the 6-hour mark from now.
Yeah, that really saddens me a lot, because I was like, as I was driving home, I'm like, okay, I'm doing WandaVision tonight. I'm like, oh, it's tomorrow. No, it's not tomorrow. Dang it! I got to wait another 24 hours now because of this. But yeah, personal life got in the way, and so we had to do it a day early. But but yeah, I have big expectations. The episode is supposed to be this was supposed to be the longest. I believe they've got the runtime booked at 50 minutes, minus the 7 minutes of whatchamacallit. So where they said that this was supposed to be a 6-hour time frame, I think it was like 13 or 11 episodes shy of being the 600 mark, the 6-hour mark. So I'm like, okay, you're within reason. I can live with that. You pretty much were true to the term of your 6-hour time frame. So
that'll be good when it comes up, and then next week we're gonna have a big old party, big old to do on. Yes,
yeah. Have our season series, and it's as of right now, Kevin Feige has said that this is a kind of a one shot. There is no plans for a season 2. But again, if the story comes up and it does arise, absolutely they will go down that road if need be. But as of right now, this is just a one season. Here's the setup to phase 4. And then we're going to springboard right on into a couple of the movies. So I would imagine some of the stuff is very similar and the same with, Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well as Loki. It's kind of just going to be a one shot.
Well, they're all intertwined overall. So I think it's easy to continue elements of the stories and other properties.
Exactly. So, but I think that does wrap up our show tonight. I do want to give you guys some heads up of other shows that you can catch us on. All That Pat and myself, we do a wrestling review on Monday nights called Slam Nation. It is 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, so definitely check us out there. I know All That Pat was working on some stuff today for the game room. So definitely check us out there as we're kind of exploring all the facets of all the different video game stuff. I think you were doing stuff on the Super Nintendo today, right?
You got it. I was playing some Simpsons Krusty Super Funhouse on the SNES.
Excellent. So I know we're working through some bugs there, working out some technology stuff, and figuring some things out. So that's always good. And then we also do a thing called Mail Call Mail Time, where we talk about stuff that we've gotten in the mail. Just so you are aware, I got 2 more Loot Crate wearable stuff that popped into the mail. I got those in the other day, so I'm excited to open those up next time. And then, of course, we have Crazy Card Collecting, where pretty soon we're going to be opening up a couple of Garbage Pail Kids to kind of see what those cards look like. He's drooling over there.
Yeah, so I'll it a little bit.
I say, isn't there like a drooling, stooling or something?
Yeah, a little bit, right?
And then, of course, I'm a big collector of Funkos. I've got a couple of them that are like around me right now as I'm just sitting here. But we got a show called Funko Royalty, which will feature me, Lord Cash, opening up and showing you off all my new fun Funko stuff that I've gotten in the mail. Target just had their little Target Con again, so I've got a bunch of those in the mail downstairs, so those are exciting that we're going to happen. And then just one last little piece here. On March 18th, we're going to have a Tom and Jerry review, the new movie that just dropped on HBO Plus on February 26th. So go check that out. So that way, when we talk about our full spoiler review on the 18th, you'll know what's going on. We're going to have a couple special guests with us those days. And then, as I mentioned, on the 19th, we have the new show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, will be debuting on Disney Plus, and we'll be having episode 1, a spoiler review on March 25th. That week later, depending on everyone's schedule, it may be a day or so, something around that time frame. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of cool stuff. Definitely get out there, like, subscribe, share the show with people. We want to get those numbers up there so we can start having everybody. Yeah, we want the love. You know,
Bring it in.
Exactly. So, anything you guys want to say before we head on out of here for the evening?
No, not really. Just thank you guys for joining us. Yeah,
and
exactly.
we're looking forward to seeing this last episode of WandaVision, which will be bittersweet.
Yep. Well, as they say, your next binge is just a stream away. Bye-bye now.
Hello?